all of my platforms. Good evening, and how do you do? There we go. All right, we are definitely live everywhere. Welcome. Hey, Ken, thank you for joining me. You always join me, which I can appreciate. I have a studio audience here with with me today. So you may see me look over to one side or talk to somebody who's here. I'm not crazy. I'm actually talking to somebody. Thank you guys for joining me for tonight's Sex, Love, and Marriage. For those who have never met me before, my name is Kanya, but I go by Coach K. I am your very favorite life coach and certified sexologist, coming to you live from my very own and new office space. Yay! I am in the space at Norchest. I'm super excited about that. Make sure you reach out to me for your next couples events or your next conference or class. But I won't dig too far into that because I want to get into tonight's topic. Every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bring you Sex, Love, and Marriage, where we talk about different topics about all things sex, love, and marriage. And tonight is no different. So, really quickly, I am just sharing this. I am sharing this. Oh, thank you for my congratulations on my new office space. I'm sharing this to my page so that my audience gets the opportunity to join us because this is, like I said, a very good topic. So, join us live. I am streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, as well as Clubhouse. So if you are a visual person, come on over to one of the visuals. If you're more audio and you're actually out here doing some things, you can join me right here on Clubhouse. And don't ever forget, you can get the replays of this at any time because I do save those. Why? Because I love the topics that I talk about. They are really conversation starters, especially in your relationship, which in my practice, Love and Intimacy 101, I work with women and I also work with couples in strengthening their intimacy literacy. And tonight is definitely a topic that I feel like there are some relationships that could benefit from this topic. Not a lot of people will talk about it. My husband just joined. Hey, s.forward_EIB over here on Instagram. I love when he joins me. So tonight's topic is coming out to your spouse. Yes, you heard me right. Coming out to your spouse. What does that even mean? How does that even happen? This doesn't even sound right. Well, that's why I want to get that conversation started tonight. One of the things that I said in the introduction post that I did about this particular topic is, for the most part, we as a individual of people, especially in my era of growth, I grew up in the like early 80s and 90s. Throughout my growth, it was very clear that there was a end goal that you live to love, find someone of the opposite sex, marry them, have children, go to college, and do all these amazing things that the world set us out to do. With that, and I would only imagine that those years even before me, so the folks that grew up in the 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, and all that good stuff, they really were in the heavy traditional, you find a wife or a husband, you create a family. As a man, you are a provider of that family. As a woman, you are the caretaker of that family, and you guys just live this beautiful, happily ever after. And so with that guideline from all of your elders, that's what you did. You sought to find someone of the opposite sex to fall in love with, get married with, and have this family with. Well, what about those that had a different thought in their mind of who they were and who they wanted to love? How do you go against years and years and years of tradition? Typically, you didn't. And so you just did whatever you were taught. And here we come to date where we're seeing cases of someone who's been married for 10, 15, 20, even 30 years, married to someone of the opposite sex, only to realize that they have feelings for someone of the same sex, or they want to explore the lifestyle of someone of the same sex. So, how do they bring this to the person that they've been married to, they've been sleeping with, they have this family with, they've been living this life with for umpteen years? What happens when this comes to fruition? That, oh my gosh, I woke up beside my husband or my wife, when in actuality, that's not the life that I truly want to live. What do you do? And so the reason why I did tonight's topic is because I see that there are so many relationships that actually are riddled with this question. There are wives who are trying to figure out, is my husband out with his friends because he just needs some bro time, or is he out with his friends because he needs some cuddle time? They're insecure and not knowing what direction to go in, because maybe they've seen things in the phone, or they've walked up on their husband or wife looking at pornographies of the same sex, or they've seen inappropriate text messages from people of the same sex. And it's like, okay, what's going on here? Tell me how you truly feel. Have we been living in this marriage of just a made up fantasy of what you thought we should be versus what you actually want? And so that really does go to having a transparent conversation. And when I always talk about those transparent conversations, you'll always hear me talk about the safe space. No matter what's happening between a husband and a wife, you want to be able to have a safe enough space where your spouse can come to you and speak to you about a variety of topics, this one included. So, what happens if your husband or wife comes home and says, you know what, I have been struggling with my sexuality for as long as I can remember, since I was a little kid. You know, I'm married because that's something that my parents wanted. That's something that I saw, and that's something that I actually felt in my heart that I wanted. But the more and more I've been trying to force the way I feel, my true self is longing to be in a relationship with someone of the same sex. Or they say, I'm really attracted to both sexes. Okay, as the spouse that just was hit with this information, what do you do? The natural reaction and what I have seen is to lash out, be angry, speak ill about that person, truly degrade them down of, well, number one, it's hurt that's speaking. This is someone who you married, you decided to have a commitment with, and to be with for a long-term relationship, only to find out that you're really not the person that they wanted to be with. And so your feelings are hurt. And a majority of the time, hurt people. And so you naturally want to talk and speak kind of reckless of, you're this and the third, you ain't ish, calling all kinds of derogatory names. But that's not the route that you really should or need to take in this moment. I cannot stop you from going through all of your emotions. I encourage you to feel all of your emotions, because in this moment, just like the video that I put up some time back, and you can go back and find it, At this point, you have to truly go through all of the phases of grief of the relationship that you knew, and that will take time. You have to grasp the concept that this person may very well still love you and have always wanted to be with you, but they don't feel fully invested in moving forward in this relationship as you see it to be moved forward in. Meaning, you're going to forever question who your partner has eyes for, who your partner has love for, who your partner wants to be with. Because this information comes out does not mean that your spouse loves you any less. It means that your spouse has decided to invest in themselves a little more, to be truthful with themselves, to now be truthful with you. So you, at that point, just like if you find out that, a spouse was cheating, at this point, you have a decision to make. You either can accept what your partner has just told you. Hey, I'm really not attracted to the opposite sex. I really want to be with someone of the same sex. Or, hey, I'm attracted to both sexes and I hope you can live with me, being married to someone who's bisexual. So either you can accept that and work to continue to build this marriage that you're in, or you can accept it and you can decide to part ways. Trying to split the middle and accept and stay in and really not accept it this day, but accept it on that day and kind of going back and forth, that will never work. You're going to consistently stay in a state of hurt, which means you're going to consistently stay in a state of lashing out, which will only ruin any type of cordialship that you could have later on in the relationship. I encourage you, the person who may just found out that their spouse is gay or bisexual, you at that point need to turn the focus on yourself to seek healing and support for you. How do you support or gain support and help in healing this process of finding out that your spouse is gay or bisexual without feeling like it's something that you've done? And so naturally, the first thing you want to feel like is, oh, it's me. I turned this way. I didn't do XYZ to make them fall fully in love with me, blah, blah, blah. But here's the reality. You probably are amazing. Don't get me wrong. You're an amazing person. But it's not about you. I can assure you that if your spouse has come to you and shared this information with you after being married for whatever length of time, that it didn't start after they did the magical ceremony of marriage and say, I do. This is something that has been in your spouse prior to them taking that walk down the aisle or however you got married and making that commitment. It's just that either they have gotten to a place where they felt safe enough to share this with you, or they've gotten to a space where they can no longer feel trapped inside of who they truly are versus the life that they're living. And so if you are the spouse who feels trapped in this place of, I married my spouse, but I know I want to be with someone else of the same sex, or I am attracted to both sexes, I also encourage you to seek help and support with getting to the place where you can let your spouse know exactly who you are. Because short of doing that, you are living a falsehood that is not fair to your spouse, but more importantly, is not fair to you. You're living a life of what you feel people want to see and what people want to feel. You're neglecting your own feelings to ensure that everyone else around you is comfortable while you're living in an uncomfortable place. If you watch any of the videos that I do, you will always hear me say that in a marriage, remembering yourself as an individual person and taking care of yourself is extremely important to the livelihood, the healthiness, and the longevity of a marriage, because a marriage is two individual people who did not know each other for at minimum the first 18 years of their life, who came together to form a union, an agreed upon union, and live a life together. And so if one of the two parties is not fully living in a truthful place, they're doing a disservice to themselves, they're doing a disservice to their spouse, and they're doing a huge disservice to the marriage. So we have to, no matter how much it feels like it hurts, because you're hurting yourself more by keeping this huge secret, and this is a huge secret to keep, no matter how much it hurts, you have to get to the place where you're able to let your spouse know, I love you. I made this commitment because I wanted to. However, I am gay or bisexual, and I need to know and give them time and grace. I need to know if that's something that you're comfortable staying in this relationship with. So hear this out. Them telling you, your spouse saying, I'm bisexual, is not an invitation for your spouse to go out and cheat with someone of a different sex than you. That's a different story and a different topic for a different day, because that has nothing to do with saying they're going to go out here and cheat with someone who blah, blah, blah. That is just them saying to you that prior to us being in this marriage, I was with someone of the opposite sex or with both sexes or whatever it is. They also could say that and thank you for agreeing with me. I appreciate you for joining. And always feel free to join the conversation, guys, here on Clubhouse. Feel free to raise your hand and come on up, as well as any of you guys that are listening to me on Instagram or Facebook. Definitely feel free to drop your comments or questions in the chat box, because as all of you know, I'm not here to be right. I'm just here to be heard and get the conversation started. And this is a real, genuine conversation that has to be had, because it is happening far too often in marriages and in relationships. You're absolutely welcome for bringing that to the front. Yes, a lot of folks are bi and married. You're absolutely right. It's out here, and it's honestly bringing a level of tension and honestly a level of depression into some marriages that may not be otherwise recognized. I have somebody who was saying, they were 8 years into the marriage when they found out, because, honestly, for the person who is in that situation, because they went forward with the marriage, they were already in an environment where they didn't feel safe, bringing that forward. So, to have to build that safe space with their spouse and then being able to say, okay, I just need to lay this out because this is heavy on my heart. I would probably imagine that someone would prefer to get that heart-wrenching news than to lose their spouse, because the alternative to someone being able to express themselves with the person who they committed to and married is potentially them feeling so overwhelmed with this secret that they potentially take their own life. And that's something I'm pretty sure that none of us want. This is a really, 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 really tough but much needed conversation. And I'm super happy that I'm able to bring this to the forefront. So definitely feel free, share this content out. I want to get conversations like this started because it is very common, it is very real, and it's happening every day. And we don't have enough support in this topic that people don't feel judged when they reach out for help. I am more than happy. Definitely feel free to schedule time if that's a conversation that you need to have. Thank you. I appreciate that. The beautiful thing about this, and thank you for sharing it on Twitter, is the replay will always be available. This is something that I'm passionate about, being able to have transparent and open conversations inside of relationships and especially inside of marriages. There are so many secrets that we hold inside of marriages. I love the relationship that me and my husband have because we talk about everything. There are some people that say, oh, there are some things you shouldn't talk about, but you know what? I'd rather hurt you today than to kill you tomorrow. And what I mean by that is the truth hurts, but a lie kills. So we have to be very open about who we are as individual people, especially when we make that commitment to someone else. We have to be okay with creating a safe space for ourselves and for our spouses to be open to confide in us about things that they may have been holding since they were a small child. Good. You absolutely want to always be open with yourself first and with your partner next. So being honest with yourself will allow you to be honest with your spouse. Creating that safe space is huge when it comes to marriage, so that they are comfortable sharing that information. And if you are the person on the receiving end of, hey, I know we've been married for some time, but I am bisexual or I am gay, just be open to getting some kind of support to have that further that conversation to find out what direction that you guys want to go in, because it is going to take both of you to move forward in whatever direction you go in. Again, I encourage you to get the support for yourselves and then get the support as a union should you decide to take that route moving forward. And then we have to think about, there's some marriages, like I said, that are, 10, 15, 20, 30 years in, you have children involved, you have family involved. At the end of it all, the two parties that matter are going to be you and your spouse. And then the children are, of course, a part of it. Absolutely. Very good point. So here, one of the comments is on, from a male's perspective, they're not sure if men are taught to access the vulnerability needed to share this level of intimacy. You are absolutely right. And I talk about this in a previous video. Unfortunately, men are not given the space, the capacity, or the freedom to be vulnerable enough to share exactly what they feel inside without one day feeling like they're going to get clowned about it, joked about it, or it taken lightly. Truly unfair. Reality is, if we see a group of girls hanging out together, they're kissing, they're touching on each other, we like, hi, oh, that's cute. You see a group of guys loving on each other, even not in a I want to be sexual way, but just loving on each other and being, loving and showing care and compassion is automatically a negative thing. And we have to do better with allowing men to be vulnerable in our spaces, period. We have to do that. The double standard is it's bad. And what it's causing a lot of our men to honestly become angry because it's frustrating. It's frustrating to want to lay your head on someone's shoulder and speak from your heart without feeling like that information is going to be shared and used against you later. But before I go down that rabbit hole, because we will definitely have a room about that. And actually, for anyone who's listening, definitely go to either right here on Clubhouse or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram and look up the video that I did on sensitive and emotional men. Ladies and gentlemen, not just ladies and gentlemen. I mean, fathers, uncles, stepdads, dads. We have to do a better job of allowing our little boys and our men and yourselves, guys, space to be vulnerable, giving yourself permission to care and love as you are expected to care and love. We cannot continue to tell our fellas, well, you need to learn how to love us. You need to learn how to care. You need to learn how to XYZ, but we don't give them the permission to share that out about themselves. So all of my platforms, you can find me at Coach K 101, and it's CoachKay 101. All of my platforms, you can find me there: Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse. I think I'm on Twitter too, but the videos are on all those places, and YouTube. But we are coming up on 26 minutes after the hour. And you guys know I don't like to keep you here too long. My goal is always to get those conversations started. Definitely feel free to follow my channels, stay in touch with me. Every single Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I bring you a new topic of all things life, love, and intimacy. Next week is going to be no different. So next week on April the 26th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I am bringing you the topic blending families. Do the children have to say, when two people are marrying and how the families come together? We're talking about stepchildren. We're talking about all that good stuff on next week. Also, if you are in the Richmond, Virginia or surrounding areas, do not forget that Date Night RBA is here. Membership is open. What is Date Night RBA? Hey, Shawty Creative, thank you for joining me. I ain't seen you in a little while. Date Night RBA is a membership for, it's a dating social club for couples, meaning that twice a month you have two fully executed dates. Once a week, we do a mindfulness energy connecting class for couples. And we have some other sprinkled activities that will be in there as well. So you want to be a part of Date Night RBA, period. We have our kickoff Date Night RBA launch and meme party event on June 11th. So make sure you get your tickets to that. Members, you guys can come to the party absolutely free. That is in Richmond, Virginia and surrounding areas. If you are within 4 hours driving distance of Richmond, Virginia, you want to be a part of Date Night RBA. It is the very first and only dating social club for couples. And I am so happy to bring that to you. So learn more about Date Night RBA. You can go to loveandintimacy101.com, or you can go to datenightrba.net, or just message me on whatever platform you're watching me on. I definitely appreciate you guys for joining me. I will be right back here on Tuesday night for our next topic. Feel free to follow me so you can learn about all of the amazing things I have going on, especially if you are in the area. If you need to book session and time with me, reach out. I will send you that scheduling link. I do sessions virtually. I also have some in-office ones if you are in the Richmond, Virginia area. But other than that, I will see you guys next week. Oh, don't forget to go to Amazon and get your relationship guide, the 5 characteristics of a stimulating relationship. You can look up my name, Coach K 101, to get that book. All right. Thank you so much for joining me here on Clubhouse. I appreciate y'all so much. And I will see y'all next week. Y'all too, Instagram. You know I can't forget about you in Facebook and YouTube. Coach K 101, your favorite life coach and certified clinical sexologist. And I'm out. Night, everybody.
We did that.